Now, I know I'm late to the WonderMan party, but I didn't think I was even gonna make a video on this show. As the years have gone by since the end of the Infinity Saga, my relationship with the MCU has changed. From someone who was there opening weekend for every movie and even waking up at 3 a.m. for new episodes of WandaVision back when it was released on Friday mornings, to going to the movies on Tuesday so I can get a discount or go to them the next weekend and skipping the new MCU show entirely because I just didn't want to watch it. I'm sure if I watched the stuff I haven't seen yet, I might like it, or most of it at least. But the amount of stuff they put out was just too much. I don't like using the word slop because I feel like it's overused and also insulting to the creators of the movies and shows who tried to make something good and failed. But back in 2023, when we followed Quantum Mania with Secret Invasion, it's hard not to. I broke my streak of watching every MCU movie in theaters with The Marvels, where I skipped it entirely and watched it on Disney Plus. But from the looks of it, so did everyone else. Now, there are many things to blame here. Feige, the creatives on the projects, Disney Plus mandates, the CEO. What we do know is that it's clear Feige was being spread too thin and couldn't oversee everything with the amount of time and care he did in the Infinity Saga. We know there were Disney Plus mandates of content they had to put out yearly to make their streaming service look like a success. And we know with the changes of CEOs showed a certain change in the quality of the projects we watched. But regardless of the reason, the MCU has been diluted in its quality and multiplied in its quantity. But there was a change in 2025. You could feel it. It was in the air. Thunderbolts, though it didn't do well in the box office due to the MCU's faults in its years prior, was critically acclaimed, and Feige has addressed that he didn't think it was the creative's fault for the failure, nor was it the character's fault. Proving that with giving Jake Schreier, the director of Thunderbolts, the keys to the X-Men movie, and by putting all the Thunderbolts in the next two Avengers movies, where I'm sure most of them will have a big role to play. Following that with Fantastic Four, a movie that was critically acclaimed as well and did good numbers at the box office. Fantastic Four started Phase 6, and the next Phase 6 project was a show that isn't really a superhero show. It's a bromance show about Simon Williams and Trevor Slattery, two actors who are trying to get a part in a movie. I decided to watch the show because I was starting to feel hopeful about the MCU again, and it was co-created by Destin Daniel Cretton, the director of the upcoming Spider-Man movie Spider-Man Brand New Day, and director of Shang-Chi, as well as a couple of other movies that I love. I hit play on the first episode, and I think this is the first time I have ever watched the entirety of a show in one sitting. Not in one day, in one sitting. Now, you can chalk that up to the runtime of the show and it only being one season, but I think it's because of just how infectious the show is. Simon and Trevor are just so likable. You want to see Simon get the role in Wonder Man so bad, but his overthinking just keeps getting in the way, and to see Trevor help him let loose is so thrilling to watch. The way they show Simon's powers is quite different from most superhero projects. We first see them when Simon's trying to make an audition tape and he sees old footage of his ex-girlfriend, and he just lets out this wave of energy that bursts through this room in this moment of silent anger and sadness. And I love how Simon's powers were always tied to his emotions. The episode where Simon and Trevor go to Simon's mom's birthday party is one of the best, where we see how Simon is treated by everyone in his family. We also see footage of Simon and his dad, who Simon was close to as a kid. And it was Simon's dad who taught him the beauty of movies in this case, being the Wonder Man movie that's being remade in the universe, which is something I can relate to as my dad is who introduced me to movies and the movie theater. I also like how Trevor is really Simon's first friend after his dad. He's the first one to know about his powers besides his family, and you see Simon lose control and break his mom's kitchen after a fight with his brother. Simon's at his worst and starts to consider if acting isn't his calling. And then he gets the call from his agent saying him and Trevor have got callbacks for the Wonder Man movie. It's just so brilliant, and you feel the same emotion Simon feels. The Doorman episode is also fantastic, a black and white episode on how Hollywood treats its actors and the exploitative nature that comes with that. This episode is the one that solidified my thinking that it was better this show released all its episodes in one day. This isn't a week to week show. You're meant to live in these characters' worlds and minds for 3 hours straight. Though some of the stuff they show feels kind of useless at first, like why do we need an episode on Simon trying to delete GoPro footage of someone who recorded him using his powers? But the way that strengthens the relationship between Simon and Trevor and follows it up with Simon being exhausted and then immediately having to go straight to Von Kovac's house, who's the director for the Wonder Man movie Simon's auditioning for, was just perfect. And I loved seeing Simon not able to use his own experiences and channel that for his acting and opting to reenact scenes of older movies because he's scared he's going to use his powers by accident. And having Trevor, Simon's only friend, his personal confidant, the one he trusts more than anything, assure him that he is not defined by his powers. And that helps Simon and Trevor get the parts. And I love the drive Simon takes to drop Trevor off at his hotel. No words shared between the two of them. They're in awe they got the role. The music playing in the background is dreamlike. They've done it, and they did it because they had each other. And then that dream is cut short, like you've been woken up when Trevor gets out of the car and sees Agent Cleary, the officer from the DODC who he's been keeping in contact with to see how he's doing on his mission to spy on Simon. It's just, ooh, it's so good. I'm eating it up. I love the way Trevor is grappling between doing his mission and being Simon's friend throughout the show. Simon confiding in Trevor makes Trevor not reveal things to Agent Cleary. Showing Trevor's humanity is something I didn't think I ever wanted to see in the MCU, nor did I think it was something we ever would see, and yet it works. And probably one of, if not my favorite scene in the show, is after finding out that everyone in his life who he thought didn't like him and didn't trust him were people who spoke very highly about him to a journalist, is then followed with the person Simon loved and trusted the most was the one who was betraying him the whole time. Is just heartbreaking. It's not a scene that makes you cry, but it's a scene that leaves a lump in your throat and you just want to lose it, like Simon does, letting out this ginormous amount of energy that looks like a bomb went off. And we see Trevor feel so terrible about it that he dons the Mandarin persona again to take credit for the explosion. Saving Simon was phenomenal. And the conversation they have before Simon sees what Trevor did to save him is so touching. Trevor says he's had a bunch of chances and he's wasted most of them. This is Simon's chance and he's not going to let him lose it. It's just so satisfying. Seeing Simon channel his own experiences for the movie, something Trevor taught him, seeing his brother, someone who he wasn't on best terms with, genuinely happy for him, and after getting everything he's ever wanted to do, the next thing he does is go save his best friend. Absolute peak, bro. I was clapping at my TV when I saw this dude bust out of prison. Trevor Slattery, someone who I thought was annoying in Shang-Chi, became one of my favorite characters of the multiverse saga. Simon Williams, the main character in a superhero show where there's barely any superhero scenes, became one of my favorite characters in the multiverse saga. And that's due to the phenomenal performances of both these actors. I still can't believe we almost lost Yaya to the DCEU with Black Manta. They really wasted him in the first one, and though I haven't seen the second Aquaman, I don't think I'm missing much. The casting here is what makes the show work. If these guys didn't have chemistry, the show would not be as good as it is now. It's been around 3 months since the show released, and it hasn't left my head. I know some people are against having Simon in upcoming MCU movies, but man, I hope he is. It's the beauty of a cinematic universe to have characters like Simon interact with the Avengers or the Fantastic Four, and I hope that happens in Doomsday or Secret Wars or upcoming MCU projects. Just not Wonder Man Season 2. That needs to be the Simon and Trevor show. Now, I haven't rewatched the show yet, but every time I see a scene on TikTok or Reels, I'm in awe of how the MCU made something so completely different from everything they've done before, and yet so good. And man, am I glad they have renewed it for a second season. Brad Winderbaum is really doing wonders for Marvel Television, especially after the last 2 years. So far, Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is going great and has glowing reviews. And in terms of the movies, we have Spider-Man Brand New Day, directed by Destin Cretton, and Avengers Doomsday, directed by the Russo Bros, who are possibly the greatest comic book movie directors of all time. In the Russo Bros, we trust. If these two movies hit, I think it's officially time to say the MCU is back. The projects that put this thought in my head was Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, and the project that solidified it is Wonder Man. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Wonder Man a 9 out of 10. Man, does this give me so much confidence in Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I think has the potential to be the best Spider-Man movie ever. And if that does happen, we will see the new best comic book movie of all time. I mean, we'll see. In Destin Daniel Cretton we trust.